You got them verses pulled up?
I do.
Okay.
About that divorce.
Yo!
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bearded Cactus. I'm Steven.
Woo! And I am Juliano.
Today, we're going to be talking about two people becoming one and then becoming two again.
Oh, no. It's like a Siamese twin.
This is a mathematical equation that has pondered the brains of Christianity since the beginning of time.
It's like twins that were born separate, but then they got sewn together. But then now they were like, we don't want to be Siamese twins anymore. So then they cut the stitches, and now they're separated again.
No more me's twins.
Now they got like... now they got separation anxiety.
I don't know why I always want to talk like this when I get real intense about things.
It's weird. That's because you were raised Pentecostal, so you're like, I gotta.
Yes, Lord. Wait, man. The harder the higher the God.
I was there's a guy that I knew that when he sang, he always added an H sound to stuff. I don't know why.
So what? What parts?
I'm trying to remember. He was like, I don't know. I can't think of it now.
Good story, bro.
Yeah, that was kind of a flop. But anyways, he always made like a weird sound when he sang.
Like what?
No,
What?
See, it was real subtle. You know how like when people sing, they always do like a lot of vibrato. They're like, yeah, and I'm like, stop doing so much of that.
Like Dolly Parton?
Yeah,
Which, by the way, sucks.
Dolly,
I'll say that right now in front of God and everybody.
Jolene.
Please don't take... If you got to beg a girl to not take your man, he probably ain't worth keeping. All I'm saying.
And you probably might not have been that good of a woman.
That's right, ugly. You had to get a boob job to keep him around. She was
pretty when she was younger.
Who, Jolene? I mean,
Yeah, Jolene. Jolene. That's why she got Dolly Parton's
it's the
name.
eternal conflict. Jolene, please don't take my man. I just got boobs. Anyways.
Yeah, whatever.
Speaking of getting something new,
What?
look at these guys.
We got these cool new mugs.
Look at her. And guess
Yeah.
what? We have a sponsor today that brought a video to you.
Boom. Sponsor break. Man, I am tired. I wish I had something that I could drink out of and possibly look good at the same time while I am drinking out of it.
I have just what you need. What? That's a Bearded Cactus mug.
Oh my goodness!
Do you feel refreshed?
And I look good.
At thebeardedcactus.com. Clink.
Just
I had to say it.
I was just like, huh?
We're colliding.
Oh, man. But anyways, we're not talking about Siamese twins or circus freaks or any of that. But that would be a pretty cool topic. Let's talk instead about separation, divorce, getting married, but then backtracking that a little bit and being like, maybe I don't want to be married to you.
Maybe I don't want to be divorced.
Maybe I don't want to be divorced. You know?
I'm mortified, so I got to get divorced.
That's like being married but still divorced at the same time. It's
I'm
like being
divorced.
divorced, but you still gotta live with that person.
It's like a demotion inside of the marriage. I'm divorced.
I'm so divorced right now.
Oh, Lord, help me.
I'm so divorced. I can't believe you did that.
Give me the strength. But we're going to kind of, because this is a Christian podcast, even though we're funny and not too serious.
Whatever.
And my wife actually seems to get a little disappointed when we do serious topics.
Really?
She's like, y'all did another serious one? I'm
Oh,
like,
man.
Yes.
We got to do
We
something.
could be serious, too.
God. Dang, Jesse Lee.
She in here yet? So we're going to talk about biblical viewpoints, what it maps out of what we, as Christians, should pay attention to. And there's always, like everything, there's several layers that we can peel back, and we can say, well, this and that and that and this.
There's a lot. I mean, there is really... It's not so cut and dry.
Yeah.
as some people would make it out to be, you know.
Well, hopefully no one from my denomination listens to this because I am a ordained minister.
Oh.
But I do not like that they do not let. Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah.
Are y'all Native American?
Yes,
as well.
I am.
Oh, okay.
So I can do it. Nobody can say anything.
Yeah, gotcha.
And some of the ministers, or they won't let people become ministers
That have been divorced.
That have been
before?
divorced. Like it depends on the circumstance. Because I've been divorced.
Right. I've
But-
heard of some of that stuff.
Like, I feel personally that is not right. Should there be a process of getting back on track and making sure that things are the way, and you're not just going from wife to wife and all that?
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, there should be.
I mean, you
no matter
can't
what.
just be like wife hopping.
And I mean, I
As
just
the
don't.
polygamists do.
Yeah, I was about to say, I held it back. I was thinking that. I think that it shouldn't be that way. I think that if we and I understand that the Bible says what it says,
Right.
but there's like we said, there's all sorts of layers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's different situations.
Sure.
Like what happened now if somebody just cheating. They use these scriptures we're going to talk about to say,
Yep.
sorry, you can't. Now, it does not say you can't be in ministry,
Yeah.
but it does say that you're committing adultery
Yep.
if you marry someone who's been divorced and it wasn't for the right reason,
Right.
technically.
Right.
So it can get very complicated real quick.
Yep.
And even though things change throughout time, I believe we still need to adhere to what the Bible says.
Yep.
But then again, there's all sorts of facets that we know and we don't know.
There's a lot of stuff.
Now, Kelly has been divorced, right?
Yes.
Okay, so but you never been married.
No. Just the one.
The reason my denomination, and I even got a phone call from like the executive office or whatever that's like over the entire world of Church of God, and they questioned me. And I didn't at first. I didn't answer.
Interrogation.
And then they called again, and I was like, "Hello," because I thought it was one of those like scam calls or
It's
whatever.
like a Nigerian
Yeah,
prince.
and he's like, "Is this Stephen Tim?" I say, "Yeah."
I
said, "Yeah, who is this?"
$1,000.
And I was kind of rude, and he was like, "Oh, this is blah blah blah," and I was like, "I am so sorry. I thought you were one of those people that called and been trying to get to sell me something." He was like, "Oh, that's fine. I get that all the time."
Everybody think I'm trying to sell them something.
He was a real down to earth, nice guy. But,
Yeah.
But he had to do a whole interview thing to go to the next level or to be entered into the whole get the ball rolling stuff for the ministry because they and I understand why they do it. I get it that they want the denomination, the ministry to be represented well.
Yeah.
They're not just going to let anybody in. But there's things of people dealing wrong with money, things like that, and they move them somewhere else. And to me, I'd be like, you got to start over. Like, I know a guy personally that did it to our church that we were at.
Yeah, you told me about all
and
that.
so that whole thing, and they moved him to another church.
Yeah. See, to me, that's weird. I mean, not to get like off subject or something
But
like
I think
that.
they didn't have the proof. Like the church didn't like blast them out and present the truth. To me, I'm going to do the proper steps and see like, okay, this is.
Right.
I mean, they cheated on their wife and did this other stuff, so they're not ministry anymore.
Yeah.
But there should be a checks and balances, and I feel like that's what's lacking a little. I don't even talk about ministry, but it's kind of in my head.
I got you.
I'm gonna talk it out.
Talk it out. We'll work it out.
So I feel like sometimes we put certain things in a certain basket.
Yeah.
Instead of having a full checks and balances across the board.
Sure.
So if we view the divorce in this way, we should also view the money handling and all this. Like there should be accountability across the board, not only in ministry, but in the civilian world.
Yeah.
And I get why the scriptures say this, but sometimes scripture confuses me, which I think is okay because I'm not a theologian. I'm not perfect. And even theologians, they don't know it all.
Well, you're not God either, so.
Definitely not. Like this right here, the reason it confuses me is because if Jesus was about forgiveness and compassion,
Right.
shouldn't that also apply in these areas?
Well, yeah. The thing is, you have Jesus is all about forgiveness, but he's also about justice, and he's also about letting people make their own choice. That's why we have free will. We can freely choose him, and we can freely not choose him. And he's also about another part of a piece of him is like when he presents himself, to us so much, and then but we are so like hard-hearted to like we want to do our own thing.
Yeah.
Like, well, he gives us up to those desires. Like, fine, if you want it, then have it. Have it. If that's what you want, then have all of it. But this is what comes along with it. So we can no longer have the excuse of, which I don't think we ever have the excuse of, well, God did this to me or nothing. It's like, no, God presented several different ways away from this.
Yeah.
But we were like, no, we want this. And that's, I think that's one of the things where it says, because of the hardness of their heart, is because sometimes we get to where we're like, no, I will not forgive them for this. I will not. I'm not going to do it. I know you want me to reconcile. I know you want me to make this right with them, and that doesn't mean be a doormat for somebody or for anyone, to just let them continually just step all over you and all of that. That's not what that means. But I think sometimes we get so hurt by something that we don't want to forgive. We don't want to be like, no, and we can forgive. I believe we, just apart from marriage, we can forgive and reconcile, but still not really have a relationship with that person, and I think that's a good way to protect yourself. If this person has shown in the past, not just with you, but with other people, to treat people in a certain way, then whether they're Christian or not, then you can just be like, you know what? I messed up because I had heard all of this stuff, but I wasn't sure if it was true or not, but this person treated me the exact same way that other people said that they would treat me. Yeah. So, you know what? I forgive you, and we can still have a relationship as like a brother or sister in Christ. But as far as like us hanging out and being like best friends and stuff, then I'm not comfortable moving along and having a relationship in that way. But if it's involved in like a ministry or something to where we're doing something that's involved with the church or something like that, then okay, that's fine. But as far as us being like best friends or hanging out like we did, I'm not comfortable with that because you've shown me a part of your character or yourself that, I'm not willing to take a chance on allowing you to hurt me in that way again. So
when Jesse and I first got married and we were doing the whole going to get Tristan and all that stuff.
Right.
And Tristan was playing baseball over in Elkhart. And I didn't sit next to Chanel. Mm-hmm. Like we went, I think it was a practice or something like that. And she was like, why do you have to be weird? Why can't we just be friends? Because I don't like you. Yeah. I didn't tell her that, but I'm just like, well, it's not a place I want to be. First of all,
right,
to my new wife.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be friends with my ex-wife.
Right.
That's just not in my makeup.
Yeah.
Maybe other people can do it.
Yeah.
But no, for one, because we're divorced.
Yeah.
You chose to divorce me.
Right.
No matter what your reason was.
Right.
You said you, like, all around didn't like me, didn't want me anywhere in your life anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, now that we're, all
right.
trying to be, we can be
adult and be civil. We don't have
civil.
to treat each other like, like garbage or anything.
Yeah, but I'm not hanging out with you and your husband.
Yeah, we don't have to go have cookouts and stuff together. That's, that's just, and like you said, some people can do that. I don't know anyone that does that, but.
Well, because think about it. Like if I'm hanging around somebody that I used to be like intimate with.
Yeah, it's just.
I don't want any weird, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The mind can play weird games on you and you're like, no.
Yep.
Not today, Satan. Ain't gonna happen. So I'm like, no. There's no possible way in the entire universe that I'm going to be that level of civil.
Right.
I can be civil from a distance.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm not gonna. And two, people can be jealous of each other.
Yep.
whether there's something there or not.
Yeah.
And so to put my new wife in that situation to where she even thinks that I am looking in that way again because I once did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cause that kind of issue in my home.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's just a conversation I don't want to have.
Yeah.
It's like, no, thank you.
A pointless conversation.
Yeah.
But if it's something big to her that she feels like that's happening, or she feels like that I'm even communicating, too much or whatever,
Right.
I'm going to squash it.
Yeah.
Because I value my marriage now,
Yeah.
and I didn't value the first one like that.
Right.
I didn't sever off, because Chanel, and I was very jealous too. I've matured a lot now, but Chanel was very jealous. I was very jealous. And so it was like just a huge wad of jealousy and anger and frustration and all this other stuff. And it wasn't a great marriage. Like, it started off good, but everything does in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one of those stand the test of time type deals. Like Jessie all the time tells me how much she loves me and appreciates me. And she just tells me all these things and tells me how wonderful I am. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you could just know my brain.
Yeah.
But she tells me the same thing.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm sorry you have to put up with the crazy me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But that's a part of to me, I know divorce I didn't want to be divorced.
Right.
But I couldn't just keep being married to her.
Yeah.
And us keep doing our own separate things.
Right. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that would.
You
can't have a marriage apart.
There was all kinds of outside of the confines of marriage stuff going on both sides.
Yeah.
And it was stupid.
Yeah.
It's like having an open marriage, and that grosses me out. Like, that's not even biblical.
Yeah. All right.
And so the best thing for me, like I did with my old Facebook page and everything, is I had to cut the ties.
Yeah.
And hit delete.
Yep.
And
Did.
and just go forward.
Yeah.
And divorce, where was I at? It was, I think, a court date for something with my meth when I got arrested and all that stuff. I went, what was it for? I don't remember. It didn't matter. But there was a couple there, and they were married, and they were...
You talking about your divorce hearing or whatever?
I don't remember I don't know if it was the divorce thing or if it was something else. No, it wasn't the divorce, because she never told me when the court stuff was. That's how she got Tristan.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
But I think it had to do with my jail time and all that stuff.
Okay.
I think they were just meeting again to tell me that it was because they were deciding whether it was going to be time served when I was in jail and all that, because it was like a month and a half or 2 months, whatever it was. So they were just kind of giving me the details, finalizing. No, it wasn't. I go back. So
we don't know where we are.
This is crazy.
This timeline is crazy.
This is not a boring story at all. Roller coaster,
Wait
y'all.
a second. No, it wasn't. Wait. No, it wasn't.
It did have to do with Chanel, but it was about when I got the custodial parent of Tristan.
Okay.
That's what it was. And so that's why there was people getting divorced. So this man and this woman, the judge was saying everything out loud, their business.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were agreeing, and they were getting divorced due to
unreconcilable differences.
Pretty much, that their personalities wasn't matching up, but they were both crying about it. And they had a kid involved and everything, and so they were agreeing. It was not a blood fest.
Yeah.
They were agreeing that it was the wrong thing, and that broke my heart. I'm like, man, what would it have taken for you to take a little longer?
Yeah.
Or maybe they got pregnant first, because there's all kinds of reasons for people to get married.
Right.
And, it sucks, especially when that road leads down the path to divorce, because 9 times out of 10, divorce is not pretty. Yeah. Like the mud that I was drugged through, my parents were divorced in 2015, and just the toll that it took on my dad, and then, I even though my mom was the one that divorced him, I know it took a toll on her. I mean, she was with him for over 30 years. I mean, you can't just clean cut that. Yeah. And it's messy no matter what, and on both sides.
Yeah.
And things echo throughout the people that are divorced, especially if you have kids together.
Yeah.
And you're permanently attached. I mean, to be honest, Jessie hates, not Tristan, but hates that he's not hit hers.
Yeah.
And we're permanently attached.
Yeah.
To my old wife.
Right. No, I get it.
And
I mean,
sucks.
there's a lot that goes into it. Since not for divorce, I understand in certain circumstances for sure. It's not going to make it easier. It's not going to make it prettier. It's not even going to make it like that much better because I think it's still going to hurt regardless of circumstances. I think that for some people that it could probably be a freeing thing just depending on the relationship. It may be like a big weight has been lifted just because the circumstances and the situation of the marriage may have just been a complete train wreck. And so it may be a relief to just be like, oh, you can breathe from that.
Do you think that a lot of these divorce issues would be solved if they went back to the parents deciding for the kids?
The parents deciding for the kids? What do you mean?
Like the parents' arranged marriage?
Oh, the arranged? Oh, I don't know. Probably not.
Because a lot of times if I would have listened to my parents first, I wouldn't have dated the people I did. I wouldn't have had the heartache that I had.
I think that goes to like advice, though. I mean, had we, which I'm not going to even get into. I mean, I guess I can. I'm going to get into it. But I was never given dating advice or any of that.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean.
But in the perfect situation.
Yeah, like in a perfect situation.
Do you think it would be beneficial and it would cause less divorce if that was the circumstance?
I think so. Okay, say the advice that Kelly and I have given the girls and Trent, like on the types of people that you want to date and don't even consider marriage if you're not even like ready for it or it doesn't even make any sense, and don't even consider dating if you're probably not even ready to get married.
Yeah.
Because other than that, what are you going to do? Date somebody for 3-4 years? What's the point of that?
For nothing?
If you're not even going to get married.
You could be out there getting rich, working a job.
Doing your thing. Yeah. I mean,
get a 401k going.
Yeah. And honestly, I was looking at a stat here today, and it was having to do with like the divorce rate between millennials, and it's like trending down. So
it's getting less?
Yeah, like for millennials, it's like you
because they're not getting married; they're just doing the nasty.
Well, they're
living together.
Well, since I think as millennials, since we've tended to be a little bit more selfish than other generations,
true.
We've went after what we wanted first, and then marriage has followed after. So after we've gotten our ignorant stage out of the way and we finish college and focus more on our career, then we've been more towards like, okay, well, let's get married now, or let me get married, because we're like, oh, okay, now we've moved out of that selfish stage, and now we're wanting that partnership. And whether whether they've been together for years and then got married, regardless of that, it's showing that we're like, divorce is trending down among millennials.
That's good.
So, good thing? Yeah, definitely. So it may be that we're like, oh, okay, that we're making better choices as far as that. And that's what we've told the kids as far as like, look, if you want to have a career and all of that, go for it. Do that. That's
first.
That's a good thing. We're not saying that you can't be married and do that.
Yeah.
Being married and having kids adds a level of complication and weight that it would be easier to do on your own.
Yeah. For sure.
So we're not trying to deter you from marriage and say marriage is a bad thing. Marriage is a good thing if you're doing it right. It's hard. It's all, there's always new challenges, because especially if you get married young, then you have to think that you are two individual people, and who you are at 20 is not who you are going to be at 30 and not at 40. So you're going to be two people that are growing in different ways, and those are challenges that come up as you grow together.
At 20, 22, 24, you're still trying to figure out your life.
For real, yeah.
There's no reason to include... now, I got married but obviously it didn't work out. I still was figuring out a lot of stuff.
Right, yeah. It would have been
got pregnant almost as soon as we got married, and it was stupid.
Would have been
wasn't my
bad idea
but,
for me to even get married at that young, And could I have found somebody that I was just head over heels in love with or whatever? Sure. Would it have worked out? No clue. But had
you probably would have been divorced.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If I had kept the same mindset that I had,
Yeah.
then yeah, I probably would have, because it just, my way of thinking was just so crazy and just
You talked about selfish. Like when I first got married, the first time, everything that I did, going out to the club, living in Orlando, it was a new world to me. Yeah, I was being so selfish.
Yep.
And from Palestine, nothing there to do. You have to come to Tyler to even go to a good mall.
Yeah.
You had clubs. We went to the Lizard Lounge maybe like once, I think. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
Didn't even know there was like that kind of music. Like had
Right.
no clue. Like,
Yeah.
I remember on the screen it was like RoboCop slamming a door to the beat like over and over again. I'm like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And all this atmosphere that was all that Orlando was.
Yeah.
You could walk downtown and get food and go to a bar and there's all these different levels of stuff that I didn't even know existed and never been to before. And I had a pregnant wife at home. Like I wasn't ready.
No.
I didn't even want to have kids. She did. I didn't. We're not going to go into how that happened, but I was still in that selfish mode.
Yeah.
And was working for Steven and wanted to go out for Steven and wanted to go meet people for Steven and didn't care if my wife at the time wanted to go or not. I was going to go one way or another, which is the opposite of what I should have done if I was mature, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I lived with my parents up until that time, and then, there's a couple years where I was out on my own, but then moved back in with them and then left and then moved back in again right before Orlando, and it was just dependent on my parents, never really experienced life.
Yeah.
And so this whole new thing, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going out. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Then have the baby, and then like within months, she leaves me. Well, I'd already put my eggs in the wrong basket on that one, so it's kind of a no-brainer for her.
Right.
And
she's got the eggs, though.
yeah, she does. Yeah. And it was just a big learning experience. Then came back, like the whole nasty mess of it.
Yeah.
And just that little nugget by itself will keep me from ever making those mistakes again because of the aftermath of the divorce.
Yeah.
And just stupid, selfish. And I think that's a big part of the reason for divorce is because of selfish and getting married, younger.
Sure. Younger, and then just marrying for the wrong reasons, and people marry for so many reasons. I don't even know all of them, obviously, but I think some people aren't willing to wait. I think some of them are just like all in that honeymoon stage, and they don't even think about like what marriage actually is. I know when I was younger, like I really didn't understand what a marriage actually meant, like what work actually went into it, because there was one girl that I joked around, was like, man, we should just like go to Las Vegas and just like get married just for fun and then get it annulled like when we come back, but marriage is a serious thing, and it shouldn't have been like something it shouldn't have meant nothing. Yeah. But it did,
But that was our level of immaturity at that time.
Right.
Like we had no clue.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have, if older me would go back and just slap younger, be like, what are you doing? And when Kelly and I got married, I still was not ready to be a husband because I was still so selfish.
And a father nonetheless, too, immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like thrown, like, guess what? You're a husband, now you're a dad, too. And it was just like all of that, where some people, they have a kid, and then they may have that kid for a year or two or so, and then they have another one. So you've got some practice or something, But me, it was just like, nope, 3 different kids, 3 different ages. Good luck. And you're a husband. Have fun with that. So that was not the wisest choice on my part. Yeah. I wouldn't go back and change it. Would I maybe have changed the timing? Sure, for sure. Yeah. I would have definitely changed the timing because I wasn't ready for all of that all at once. Yeah. I just wasn't.
Well, Jessie all the time, she's like, she actually didn't do it much anymore. We've been married a little over 5 years now, and we dated almost a year before that. And not only was it a immediate mom label,
right?
It was immediate mom labeled to a serious ADH unmedicated kid.
Yeah.
And everything she questions herself, no matter how amazing she is.
Right.
And she's like, am I doing it wrong? Like, why?
Right.
You know, because you have these fantasies in your head.
Yeah.
Immature fantasies.
Yeah.
And like, oh, when I'm a parent, everything's going to be perfect.
Right.
And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. My kid won't act like that in Walmart.
Yeah.
And then you find out your kid's the one that everybody else is going to be talking about.
And then you're going to be like, this is the type of dad I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, I'm not even anywhere close.
I'm going to fix anything around the house as soon as it breaks, or I'm going to fix the outside stuff. And then 3 months go by and I still got that bathroom in there that looks like crap. And then I still got the outside stuff that I haven't done yet.
Haven't changed that light bulb.
The yard needs mowed. Yeah, that's not even a joke. In the master, there's a bulb out that I've known for at least 3 months, but I've got so much other stuff going on.
There's one in our closet that's been out for like a month, and I'm like, I need to change that bulb. But
One day I'm mature enough, and
I forget about it, and I just don't think about it. I just shake my phone, and my light comes on. I'm like, what am I looking for here? Oh, that's it.
There
that's what I need.
See, I didn't need you anyway.
I don't need that light. I got another light.
But it's those like false expectations,
Right?
And I think we all do it.
Yeah.
When we look at other people's children.
Sure.
We look at other people's marriages.
Sure.
Oh, I'm not going to treat my wife like that, or I'm not going to talk to my wife that way.
And I think it's so much like has to do so much with like social media now too as well. Yeah. You know, we see so many of these families or fathers or mothers posting things like I'm doing this with my kid and everything, and then you're like, oh, I'm not a good dad, or I'm not a good husband, and then you're like, oh. And then I think we can look at people and look at their lives, or we can look at someone else's wife, and then we're like, why doesn't my wife do any of those things, you know? Yeah. And then we're like, ugh. And then we get discontent, and we start comparing our life to some Facebook or Instagram life that isn't real, you know? It may be real for that particular time. Yeah, they went fishing and had fun, but what happened the other 48 hours when they didn't post anything? Who knows?
Yeah.
You know? And so we have unrealistic expectations that we set on ourselves, but then we like project those expectations onto our spouse, and they don't even know it. Yeah. And, you know, we're like, I wish they would do those things, but they're not doing any of those things.
Yeah.
Why don't they do that? You know, why don't they do that for me? You know, and then it's ridiculous. And like you said, you know, we especially when I was younger, I'm going to speak for myself. I just wasn't ready for it. I wanted it. I know I wanted it in my life. You know, I know for sure that I was like, you know, one day I want to be a dad. One day I want to be a husband. I almost said wife.
One day I want to be a wife.
One day I want to be a wife. A good wife.
A good stay-at-home mom. Housewife.
But I want a wife. And so it was, but my maturity level wasn't there yet, nor was like my financial like situation there yet at all. You know, it was just crazy for me to even think that I should take this on right now. But I think whenever we look back and if you want a successful marriage, then you have to be willing to look at yourself and say, am I ready for this? Is my maturity level where it needs to be? Am I financially ready for this? Do I want to take this on right now? I think I think we have it backwards. We date and then we decide to get married. I think we should decide to get married and then date.
Yeah.
You know, I think there needs to come a point in your life where you're like, I'm ready for marriage. Now I want to be married. You know, not date and then, oh, that didn't work out, and then date and then, oh, that didn't work out, and then be like, oh, you know what? This is the one. This is who I want to be married.
Now I'll settle down.
Yeah.
Now I want to settle down.
You know,
should have been thinking about that the whole time, and you probably wouldn't have chosen the ones you chose.
And you wouldn't have to go through so many, like, you know, bad relationships, and not necessarily, some of them may not have even been bad, but they didn't work out because, you know, you were together for a year or 6 months or however long, but then you grew apart or whatever. So you basically, I mean, you matured and you learned a lot about yourself, but I mean, you wasted their time and you wasted your time, and now you're going to have memories of that person that you're not ever going to be able to get rid of.
Yeah, and you'll carry it into your next, when you end up getting married.
Right, and especially if it was like a physical relationship, then, okay, that's always going to be there now, you know, and you're going to have to like, nope, just fight to not think about that or dwell on that, you know.
And I think, too, it brings a lot to the table. When you're finally ready, then you're emotionally, physically, and spiritually drained because you did it the wrong way.
Right.
And then you're trying to bring a half game to a full contact sport, and you're like, oh, I wasn't ready for this, or I can't handle this. But the fact is that you've been chipping away at yourself this entire time. Now, what's your opinion or your take on people that are living together?
Well, I mean, if we just get like biblical about it or whatever, just straightforward, then, I mean, you're not married. You're pretending to be married, you know?
What about the argument that says that I'm making sure it's going to work out?
I love that argument because it's so silly. It's silly just for the fact that if it takes you 4 years to learn somebody, then either you're both the most retarded people in the world that don't understand, or you're just fooling yourself. And obviously you're just fooling yourself. It doesn't take 4 years to know somebody.
They're trying to lease the car instead of own it.
Right, you know.
Sometimes you just don't want to afford it.
Yeah, I mean, that knowing somebody, this is what that all comes down to. If you want to know somebody, then just be honest and be you.
Yeah.
100% when you meet the person, you know, don't sit there and be like, don't play the stupid game or like, oh, I'm cool with this. I like this just because they like it. No, if you don't like that, then just be like, yeah, you know, I really don't care for that, you know?
Because the worst mindset you can have going into a relationship is, if I just go along with what they like or feel, then later it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
and that's the opposite.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening. You know, take something small that somebody does. Now say, can I deal with that thing forever?
Yeah,
you know, and if something they do, like say they clip their toenails at the kitchen table, and it grosses you out, you deal with it because you just met them. Yeah. Whatever, you know, it's a month into it.
They do that on the first date. You need to be double checking anyway.
Like, girl, this is me. I'm gonna just be real with you, you know. Clip.
I am who I am.
You know, if you don't, I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it 100. You know, if you don't like who I am, then get to stepping. But you know, I think there's things that we need to realize that maybe we do have some bad habits, and we can't just say, "Oh, that's who I am." It's like, no, it's a bad or a gross habit. Just, you know, learn to stop it.
When I was in college at Southwestern Assembly of God University, there was a girl, and she was like drop dead
ugly.
Yeah.
I
mean, just like personality matched up with mine. Everything was like perfect.
Right.
And I was willing to. She wanted to stop dating.
Yeah.
Because she was Baptist and she believed that speaking in tongues was not a thing.
Right.
Well, I'm Pentecostal.
Yeah.
And I've seen the evidence, and I'm like, it's fine. We can work that out later. I was willing to set my belief that I was brought up in, had seen, I could attest to, and I was willing to lay it on the side for this relationship.
Right.
That could have been the worst. That could have been my first divorce.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, people can't coexist in the same, you know, Jesus is Jesus.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
That's not going to get you to heaven or hell because of that one fact.
Right.
But, I mean, if you go to a certain denomination, you back up and believe, or you should, what that denomination believes.
Sure.
And have biblical context to say, this is why I believe this way, and then go about your business. You know, fine. But to bend what I fundamentally believed, because she was so pretty,
right?
She was so sweet, and she, like, our personalities matched up so well.
Yep.
I was like smitten, you know, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be, you know, it's college. I was like 19.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But I was going to bend who I was to my core.
Yeah.
Because she was beautiful and because she matched up with me well.
Yeah.
On so many other levels.
Yeah.
And she was mature enough to break it off, and it broke me. Like, I was like,
but why?
Oh my God,
why?
I don't understand. I was like trying to talk to her on the phone. I was in my bunk, and I was up in the top. I was like, why can't we just try to, I was trying so hard.
Yeah.
And she wasn't having it because she was more mature than I, and she knew that something that was the basic who we were.
Right.
You don't bend on who you are to fit into someone else's mold.
And it would probably, like you said, it would eventually, it would kind of become a point of, I don't know, a point of, I guess, what is the word that I'm thinking of?
Are you thinking resentment?
Yeah. Like it would be like a point of resentment between you two that like just kept growing and growing.
Like,
and
how do you decide where to go to church?
Yeah.
Like, do I go and be bored, or do I want to? I'm just kidding.
We don't even raise our hands here.
Or do I want some freedom? But then she's freaked out. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how to praise Jesus. I don't know. That's your deal. Work that out between you and the Lord.
But I feel that's
Fear and trembling.
A lot of things that
right? Gotta do it.
A lot of things that kind of lead to that area or that arena of divorce is pretending you are okay with things that you're not okay with.
Yeah.
Or realigning what you believe is right or wrong.
Yeah.
To fit someone else's thing, and then later you have to face it head on, and ends up tearing apart.
It's kind of like, oh, well, we didn't even know that we disagreed on that. It's like, why not? That's like a core thing.
You just decided to put it under the rug, and now you're tripping.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, you need to say, okay, I'm ready to get married, and then you start looking for that, you start looking for somebody that you want to have that marriage with.
You need to decide who fits in the list that you have. Make a list. Like, really, make a list. What you want. Start off with what you need emotionally, physically, spiritually. They match up. Those are the top 3 things.
And you got to be reasonable, too. You can't be like crazy.
Yeah, if you're like a 2, don't want a 10. All right, it ain't going to work. Although it can. I've seen it. But you've got to have a lot of money.
Just know that she's going to have a lot of baggage. And every time you're like, why is she with me?
I mean,
there's a reason why.
Trump didn't get his wife because of his orange complexion.
Because of his awesome swoop, Ooh.
Yeah.
Trump. Wow. That's so great. Come over.
Yeah, come over.
I know that's not her voice
yes,
or anything.
It is.
But I don't know. I don't even know where she's from. But
so to kind of wrap it up, I guess we can talk about, or we can go through the scriptures that kind of back up. We landed on, obviously, we think divorce is wrong.
Right. I think divorce is wrong. I think that they're definitely, okay, if a woman is being beat on the daily,
leave him.
You need to get away. You got to get away.
Once. I don't personally.
Yeah, I wouldn't want someone to sit in a relationship where where it's possibly lethal for you. Or your kids.
If your life is in danger, or they're cheating and that doesn't work for me.
It's extremely, extremely toxic.
The Bible says that you have every right. So I'll read a few scriptures.
Unpack some of that.
I'll unpack some of that. Luke 16:18 says, everyone who divorces, and it says everyone, but it's talking about men, who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery. And he who marries a woman divorced from her husband commits adultery. So that's a big one right there.
Yep. And the thing is, that's one verse. That's one verse. Now, what's above it, what's below it? You've got to read everything in context. We can't just cherry pick the Bible and just be like, yep, right there, that gives me the right. And it's like, okay, but what's the context of it?
And you also need to, now this is very important in biblical study, period. Like, if you're going to say this verse says this, you need to look up the original Greek or Hebrew.
Right.
Because some words are translated different across different translations and the original text. Several words, like kind of in Spanish, they can mean several different things.
Yep. You got exegesis and eisegesis.
Yeah. So in 1 Corinthians 7:10 through 11, it says, to the married I give this charge, not I, but the Lord. The wife should not separate from her husband, but if she does, she should remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband. So it's saying if you're going to leave, get back.
Yep.
But the husband should not divorce his wife. 1 Corinthians again, 7:15. This is a few verses after that last one. It says, but if the unbelieving partner separates, let it be so. In such cases, the brother or sister is not enslaved, but God has called you to peace.
Yep.
So that's saying if unequally yoked.
Unequally.
Unbelieving
You were
partner.
at the club. You were like, I shouldn't be here. Apple bottle jeans. You want to get married?
Boots
She
with a
said,
fur.
yeah. And then
She's wearing fur, y'all.
she was wearing fur. Some of that elk fur.
So in Matthew 19:9 says, "And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another, commits adultery."
Right.
For the men, and this is Malachi 2:16, "For the man who does not love his wife, but divorces her, says the Lord, the God of Israel, covers his garment with violence, says the Lord of hosts. So guard yourself in your spirit, and do not be faithless." So love your wife.
Love her.
And this is the Matthew 19:9. "And he said to them, because of your hardness of heart, Moses allowed you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so."
Yep.
So Moses allowed it. The Mosaic Law.
Mosaic.
What we base all of our laws on. If Moses said it.
If it's Moses.
But, I mean, so really, and all these kind of boil down to the same thing. It's all it depends on the circumstances. There's so many facets
Yep.
of what the reasoning could be.
Yeah. I think you should try and work it out. I mean, if it's like
That's what God wants.
If it's a reasonable thing, then yeah, I mean, you should try and, you want to try and reconcile. It doesn't say that you can't separate. There's a time for separation, like, I mean, there's been a couple times where I was just acting a fool in our marriage, and Kelly decided, look, we need to be apart because you need to work this out because you're acting stupid and you're being stupid, and our marriage isn't going to work if you keep up this mindset or keep acting this way.
Sometimes it takes that rattling of your cage or the ground shaking beneath you to really get some new perspective.
Right. So, I mean, we were still married and everything, but, I mean, we weren't living together. I had, I was staying somewhere else for like a month or so, and then, it was just like, okay, well, I need to be working on me because what I'm doing isn't best for us. So, and if what I'm truly seeking is reconciliation and the best for my marriage, then, if I'm seeking God in it and being led by the Holy Spirit, then He's not going to lead me in the wrong direction. He's not going to lead me in the wrong way. And if my intentions are to truly work out my marriage, then that's what's going to happen. I'm going to get rid of, whatever action or whatever kind of behavior that needs to change or my mindset.
Because God is a God of reconciliation.
Right.
He's not a God of breaking covenants.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what He does. He likes to make covenants and keep covenants. And that infusing together, I skipped over the verse, but it was talking about two flesh becoming one, which said in the beginning to
boom, Siamese
become one,
twins.
one become two.
Get it?
And get it?
You get it now?
And so it's very important because it's a system that God put in place.
Right.
I mean, it's how He first created was man and wife to be together, to then reproduce and to have that fulfilled life of having children together and doing life together. And he's not, I think,
because our marriage is supposed to be a symbol of Christ's relationship to us. That's why it says, you're to love your wife as Christ loves the church. How does He love the church? Undying, it's just like, I mean, there's so much to it. It's just, I mean, it's a crazy love. Francis Chan, but I mean, it really is the way that He loves us, the way that He loves the church, and that's how we're supposed to love our wife. That's an unconditional
new word.
Unconditional.
You heard it here.
A little bit of unconditional and unbreakable.
Boom. Unconditional.
Uncombrishable. We'll work it out.
Amen.
We'll fix it.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
We'll send it to Webster.
Wash the
We
window.
got this.
Amen. Wash the window.
Carry the TV. Carry the TV.
Amen.
But yeah, I mean, if that's the way that we as Christian men are supposed to love our wife, then I think we need to take a step back, and until we're willing to love a woman in that way, then I don't think that we need to even be thinking about bringing a wife into our relationship.
It's a big responsibility and a great burden.
Yeah.
But,
until we can fully understand and wrap our mind around
selfless
what
love.
that means, then it's like, okay, am I ready to love someone in that way?
Because once you can love a wife selflessly, then you also are on the path to then love your kids selflessly.
Right.
Which you were kind of thrown into both at once.
Yeah.
But
and I wasn't ready. I mean, just to be honest, like I wasn't ready.
Which is why you need some time to figure it out.
Yeah. I needed a lot of time. 10 years. Maybe next year I'm going to get it. Come on, Lord.
You're on the right path. We've been doing therapy since January.
Path to success. January of 2005. 2010. I've been in therapy since 2005 too. I needed a lot of it.
There's a lot of personal growth happening right here on TVC 15.
Oh man, Nickelodeon is not a good therapist. Whatever. Come on, Lucy, help me. How do you and Ricky do it? Separate beds. That's it. That's you can't be stealing each other's covers.
Then you have separation while you're still in the same home.
Like, hey, you stay over there. When I want you here, we'll slide the beds together. Duh. That's how this works.
And then the kids walk by the bedroom. Oh, the beds are together. Oh. They made up.
Are we staying at Aunt Nancy's tonight?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Way to read the signs, kiddo.
The beds are together. You know it. Quit acting stupid.
Don't act dumb. You don't even have to ask anymore.
Just go.
Just go.
Take the car. It's fine.
It's fine. I'm only 9. I don't care.
Whatever. You know where the keys are at.
I got things to do. You're ruining the mood.
You take it there.
But no, I don't agree with divorce. I understand the reasons why people do it. I'm not going to judge somebody, and even if I don't agree with why you did it, I'm not going to treat you like crap, and I'm not going to be rude to you, you know. I'm not going to do that. And in the back of my mind, be like, man, y'all could have worked that out, you know.
Yeah.
And I hate seeing when a marriage doesn't make it, you know, especially if they are a Christian, then it's just like,
and kids in the middle of it too.
Yeah,
because it ends up inevitably being the issue.
It's just going to be nasty. It's never a good thing, especially if both people like really truly cared for each other. You know, I understand if somebody had no business getting married anyways, and their heart was never really in it. Yeah. Then I mean, whatever.
Just two people were there.
Yeah.
Hey, want to get married?
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to realize too. Yeah.
A lot of alcohol.
If it was alcohol.
I don't know.
So it was just like, yeah, you're here. Me too.
Let's do this.
Is that a dumpster? Let's go back there.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Let's dive in.
It's a sad thing. I think it's a sad thing anyways. Even if, you know, both people were terrible, then it's just like, man, you both just didn't understand the value of marriage, and you just treated it like this, I don't know, this exchange, kind of like you were just exchanging money or whatever, and it had no real value whatsoever. And it's the same thing, like people that just get married for financial reasons or whatever. It's just, it's not going to be good. Even if you stay together for a long time, you know, odds are that most of that was spent, you know, being discontent and not really having a real happy marriage.
Just being roommates.
Right. Basically.
That's no way to live.
Yeah, and I guess you
just
could
get a roommate.
Yeah, you could learn. Yeah, for real. Just get a roommate.
Make them pay you to stay there.
Yeah, just get a roommate and share your money. I guess, you know, have just like an agreement. But I guess for tax reasons, you get married.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and if you have multiple marriages, then that carries. You're creating a lot of baggage. Yeah. For the next person, and so and you know, not thinking for you're not being, it's not like you're intentionally doing that, you know, but that's what ends up happening. Yeah. Because you have to think, like, if say one marriage lasted 5 years and then this one lasted 10, but even if it lasted a year or two, you know, that's still some emotional baggage or damage that the next person is gonna have to deal with.
Or be compared to. Or
right, yeah.
All this other, I mean, there's so many, like, spiritually, emotionally, physically, all these things that just each one of those has its own special baggage.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not good, you know. And that's the same thing with like if you date so many people before you get married. Okay, no, you weren't married or whatever, but now you have, 6, 7, 12 different relationships
and bags.
Yeah, and bags.
And no matter what, like I just thought of this, like on the baggage claim at an airport,
yeah,
you can put it on there, but it always comes back around.
Yeah, it's just that's good analogy, bro.
Yeah,
woo, that's a clinker.
Clink. I want to break it. I'm so scared.
I guess to wrap things up, no, I'm not for divorce. I understand it in certain circumstances for sure. If I would say, do whatever you can to save your marriage.
Yeah.
I understand that you can't change people, and if somebody's, just so bad off that, the best thing for you to do is to get away for your safety or your kid's safety, or both, then, don't put yourself in harm's way to just try and save your marriage as, no, I don't want a marriage to end, but I also don't want a life to end as well, or someone's life to be ruined because of it. You got to be smart about it.
And it could be a scary thing too if they're dependent on someone else.
Yeah.
Or they get that, or they'll change.
Right.
If I hang in there a little longer, and 9 times out of 10 it doesn't happen.
And I understand not everything's just so cut and dry. Like, well, I can just leave because sometimes maybe you can't.
Yeah. No escape.
So,
nobody to help. You don't live around family or anything like that. There's a lot of.
There's a lot of nuances to it, and it's not always so cut and dry as people like to make it out to be.
So let us know what you think about divorce. #DeBreedCactus.
Would you divorce us? Probably.
Don't
I would
do it.
recommend it.
Don't do it.
Not with these cool mugs we got.
Not with the cool commercials we got.
Jesse Lee, if you ever leave Steven, I'm coming for you, and I'm going to throw you in a river.
River. See you next week.
Later, guys and gals.